A modest, calm bookstore was tucked between two tall buildings in a busy city where everyone seemed to be in a rush. Two spirits who were meant to meet met at this store, which was well known for its unusual book selection. Emma was a young artist who was constantly looking for ideas. She would frequently spend hours perusing through ancient novels and poetry at the bookstore because she found comfort in the written word. She brushed into someone's hand one rainy afternoon while reaching for a book, was leather-bound and covered in dust. She was startled to see two dark brown eyes staring back at her. Professor of history, Liam, was enthusiastic about learning new historical narratives. He had gone to the bookstore specifically looking for a book, but Emma, with her clothes covered with paint and a smile that could light up the whole place, was what he discovered instead. They both chuckled and apologized for the inadvertent touch. That's when everything clicked. They made small chat, discussed their favorite books, and before they realized it, hours had gone by. Though neither of them promised to see the other again or exchange phone numbers, they both left the bookstore that day thinking about the other. Weeks passed, and Emma and Liam discovered that, seemingly by tacit agreement, they were going back to the bookstore on Saturdays at the same time. Their chats got deeper every time they got together. They discussed their aspirations, anxieties, and the small details that shaped who they were. Liam saw Emma's drawings, all of which drew inspiration from the books she had read. Liam conversed with her about historical stories that captivated her, and together they investigated the relationship between art and the past. As their friendship grew, both of them had rising feelings of affection that they were reluctant to share. They kept getting together as friends week after week, despite their dread of losing what they had. Emma detected an unfamiliar sadness in Liam's eyes one cool autumn evening as they sipped hot chocolate in a neighboring cafe. He was hesitant to talk about it at first, but he eventually did. Liam was offered a position as a professor at a renowned university abroad. Though leaving behind everything he knew, including Emma, made him doubtful, even though it was a fantastic opportunity. Emma was devastated by the news. The thought of Liam leaving her seemed intolerable since she had been so accustomed to him being in her life. However, she concealed her actual emotions behind a smile as she urged him to seize the chance. Emma ended their evening together sobbing. Unable to control her emotions, she became aware that her feelings for Liam had transcended friendship to a whole other level. However, she feared it would be too late to inform him. Emma made a decision that she had never made before on the day of Liam's departure. Hoping to capture him before he went, she painted a painting of the two of them, surrounded by the books they loved. Then she ran to the bookstore. Liam was waiting for her when she arrived. In his hands he carried a small, wrapped parcel that was a gift for her. For a few period, they stood there in silence, the weight of unspoken words hanging between them. Emma finally gave the artwork to him, her hands shaking. She uttered, hardly raising her voice above a whisper, "This is for you. I wanted something to serve as a reminder of me for you." After Liam had unwrapped the painting, he gaped at it. His voice was full with emotion as he said, "It's beautiful. However, Emma, how could I ever forget you?" For the first time, she saw that same love reflected back at her when she gazed into his eyes. With tears flowing down her cheeks, she shouted out, "I don't want you to go. Liam, you have my affection. I've been loving you for a very long time, but I was afraid to tell you." Liam moved in closer, blotting her tears. "Emma, I adore you too. I've loved you forever. However, I didn't want to stop you." With their arms around each other, they stood in the midst of the bookstore, the outside world beginning to fade. Now that they were upfront about their love, which they had both been too scared to acknowledge, it was stronger than before. Liam made the decision to accept the teaching job. He invited Emma along. They set out on a new trip together, full of history, art, and love. Together, they developed and learned from one another while traveling the world. The small bookshop where their journey started will always hold a particular place in their hearts. And each year, they went back to the bookshop together, hand in hand, to commemorate the love that had brought them together on the anniversary of that wet afternoon when they had first met. Their love story was about more than just meeting each other. It was about having the guts to follow their passions, face uncertainty, and create a life full of the things they both valued most. Thus, they formed a life together that was characterized by love and shared memories, leading them to live happily ever after, not only in the pages of a book.